It's a rational transaction. One life for billions.
Golden alive!
Flash! Flash, I love you! But we only have 14 hours to save the Earth!
Hey, reflection, I really like you. Don't want your friends. Hey, man, I think it's pretty funny given who I am. Nothing can stop me. I'm living in a city.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Irrational Transaction. I'm Caleb Dirksen.
I'm Alexander Peters. This is a show where we watch the movie Flash Gordon, made in 1980, once a week for a year, and then we talk about it once a week. And maybe it was a mistake. Maybe we're discovering that along the way. Who knows? But all I know is...
Who knows?
I'm getting tired of this one, Caleb.
You're getting tired? I was going to say, it struck me this time to ask, why did we want to do this in the first place? What was the drive for this?
Honestly, it was a way for me wanting to keep in touch with you, and also like,
oh, that's really sweet, actually. Oh.
Yeah,
Well, I was gonna give you a stupid answer,
but like, it's also a movie that I watched once, and I thought it was so ridiculous. I need to do something about this movie. But that's pretty much where my head was at.
Yeah, I mean, where's my head at right now? I think it's swirling around the Imperial Vortex.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about as I watched Flash Gordon this week?
What were you thinking about?
I was thinking about how I just watched Andor last week. That's a really good show. Have you seen Andor?
I haven't seen Andor, Caleb. Tell me about Andor.
Okay, Andor's probably... I'm going to say something maybe controversial. Actually, this is a pretty safe take. Andor might be the best Star Wars property ever.
See, I keep hearing this, but like I've so given up on Star Wars at this point. It's so hard for me to bother.
Alexander, I need to rail you back in because I felt the same way. I said Star Wars is dead to me. I hate it. It's bullshit. When you watch this show, you will say, "Wow, Star Wars was just born again."
Really?
Like this is better than any prequel. This is better than any other Star Wars show. This stands on par with, I would say, the originals. Really? I say it is up there with them, and maybe even better than some of the originals.
Wow. Because, like, I can still sit down and watch the first three and still feel those warm fuzzies. And, like, I maybe I'll have to give it a shot. Because
it's not going to give you warm fuzzies. It's definitely, like, dark. And it's gritty and miserable and tense.
Yeah.
But here's what hooked me on it. And this some Star Wars fans are gonna hate me for this, but I assume if you like Flash Gordon, you probably like Star Wars. So we're all in good company. There's no lightsabers. There's no Sith Lords. There's no Jedi. There's no Force. It's just pure laser beams, gunships, politics, smugglers. It's just talking about the rebellion, talking about the Empire, and there's none of this bullshit.
Really?
None of this, oh, Darth Vader showed up for 5 minutes. Ooh, I'm going to clap now. Sorry if you're in the audience and you feel like I called you out. I'm sorry, audience members. I love you.
I need the audience to know right now that Caleb has a blanket over his head and covering his monitor so that his microphone doesn't echo around the room, and he looks like a Sith Lord because the blanket's covering his eyes and it looks like a robe. And
the Dark Force is whispering me to do it.
Yeah.
Don't talk about Flash.
The price we pay.
Don't talk about Flash.
For art.
I would encourage you, because I am kind of a Star Wars hater, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I would say you watch this and you'll say, this is what Star Wars should be.
I'll have to take a look.
This is what it has to be. No bullshit, nothing boring.
I will say, there was a recent animated series that dropped. I watched the Count Dooku episodes of that. I don't remember what it was called for the life of me, because there's so many Star Wars things. But it was basically a Count Dooku prequel. And that was really interesting to watch. Watching him and his Padawan Qui-Gon as Dooku kind of fell. That was kind of neat.
So does Dooku do the Darth Vader thing? Like, did they just both fall for the same reason?
No. Dooku was more of a
And wait, and Qui-Gon and Dooku are...
Qui-Gon is Dooku's apprentice.
So this whole line is fucked up, because it's Dooku, Qui-Gon, then Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan, Anakin. So it's just like Sith, Jedi, all the way down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Qui-Gon's always been kind of like the gray Jedi, because he was trained by Dooku, who had the Jedi are corrupt worldview, and he was trying to fix it, and he realized he couldn't fix it from the outside, so he became a Sith.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I don't know how to feel about it, especially after Andor. I'm kind of done with like the lightsaber shit.
Yeah.
Space. What am I trying to say? What's the point I'm trying to articulate here? I'm trying to articulate that the shows become a lot more interesting when your hero can't just cut through his opponent with a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent point, and I feel like Flash Gordon definitely has a lightsaber. And that's a problem with this movie, is that it's very much just Star Wars.
It is, yeah. Flash Gordon and his Fabergé egg.
Yeah.
Cutting through the royal court.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Let's fall back into the Imperial Vortex.
I'm gonna tell you a problem I have with this movie right now, Caleb. Okay.
I can't see a single one with the entire film. I don't see a problem.
My problem with this movie is that I'm still enjoying it.
Okay, well, I think we have the same problem.
It's just that, like, no matter how much I'm dreading to sit down and watch it, and I'm so curious as to what I could call this phenomenon, I'm like, I don't want to watch this movie anymore. And then I'll sit down and I'll press play, and then I'll start smiling as soon as Ming starts talking.
It's comfort food. It's silly. It's fun. It's bright colors. It's a children's toy.
Yeah, it's just like, and then the music starts playing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is fun.
And I get depressed at the beginning sometimes when you see like Dale and Flash in the plane. You're kind of like, this is boring. And then Zarkov comes on screen. He's like, check the angular vector of the moon. And you're like, okay, I'm back.
See, that's the whole thing. The other problem is that my favorite part of the movie at this point, and it's probably just because I've watched it so many times, is the first 30 minutes of the movie. And then I realize I'm in for a long rest of it.
I would say I feel exactly the same in that when I always look at the, like, you know, sometimes I feel ashamed to say this, but sometimes you just start looking at the time. You're like, okay, we're at, 50 minutes. We're at 110. I think all the good stuff kind of gets out of the way in the first half of the movie. Like, and then the last half is just, I don't know, it's still competent, but it loses some of the spark, or maybe there's less discovery.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's no more discovery after they get to the Hawkmen's city, and then it's get back to Mingo City and kill Ming, because like after Ming's conversation with Flash, then it's just kind of one note the entire time, and that note could be better.
True, yeah, and yeah, Hawkman too long. But I do love, we always talk about the scene, but I have to talk about it because this is the scene that pulls me back in, because I always start flagging once we get to the Bird City, or what's it called?
I honestly don't know.
Bird Fortress. Yeah. Whenever we get to Bird Fortress, I always, my attention starts to flag. And then we have this amazing scene between Ming and Flash where he offers him a kingdom of Mongo. And it begs the question, do you think if Flash accepted, Earth would get pulled into Mongo's or Ming's atmosphere? Is that how it works? Because all the other kingdoms
specifically a vortex, right? So, like, that would kind of make sense. He travels around in a vortex.
Yeah, that seemingly eats planets, eats kingdoms.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know.
A Death Star, if you will.
Exactly.
With an earthquake laser beam.
I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I'm an open book.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very insightful thing. It's just something I noticed this time around. But after Zarkov's rocket lands outside of Mingo City, when Flash wakes up Dale, I just saw it this time around. I'm like, this is such a strange way to wake up a person. He grabs her chin and just starts shaking her head. He's like, Dale, Dale.
Damn.
And I'm like, huh, interesting. This is fun. This is neat.
It's funny.
At this point, I'm just like trying to find anything new, Caleb.
My mind has started to travel in some of the possibilities. Let me take you to some tangents. Number one, trivia for you: when they enter the Imperial Vortex for the first time, what size classification are they given by the Imperial Imagers? When they enter the vortex...
Oh, and the dude's narrating.
They identify them by a certain Imperial size.
Right. Isn't it 3?
Mong scale 3.
Yeah. Mong scale 3.
The people of Mongol scale 3, which begs the question, is 3 bigger? Which is bigger? Is going Mong scale 2 bigger? Is Mong scale 4 bigger? And where are the other big Mongs?
Are they referring to the people there, or are they referring to the flight vessel?
No, because they say like 3 passengers, approximate Mong scale 3.
Oh, so is it? Oh, okay. So that 3 wouldn't.
So I think it's like humanoids, scale 3 humanoids.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that does beg that question. Interesting.
I think lizardmen are probably like scale 2.
Oh,
so that's first tangent, but
okay, cool. I have a question for you. A little bit of I only wrote down one question this time around for my trivia for you. But when you hear "Halt, lizard man" in the beginning of the movie, is the lizard man running from left to right or right to left?
Right to left.
That's correct. It was a gimme, but like I thought maybe it was just simple enough that you might be like, shit, now I'm double guessing myself.
Let's talk about that scene though. The lizard man does halt, and he's still shot and disintegrated.
Yeah.
He says, "Halt, lizard man." The lizard man stops, and then he shoots his ass.
Yeah. 100%.
That's why they call him Ming the Merciless.
Exactly. No mercy.
No mercy. There's more tangents. Oh, here's another one. Agent Zarkov gets what clearance level?
He's asked for level 3 only, is what Clytus says, and then General Kala says level 6.
So what is that information? I assume that means they're pouring Imperial secrets into his brain, Imperial passcodes, and I don't know, is it like your lunch schedule?
It's either that or it's like his cognitive abilities again, like his ability to process and think.
Oh, they're giving him giving him some kind of limited capacity.
Yeah, like
to 6.
Yeah, exactly. It might be that, but because at that point, after this section in the film, Zarkov becomes insanely more confident in every situation he's in, and a lot more calm.
Very interesting.
He doesn't get as stressed or nervous as he was, and it might just be because he now knows the unknown and what he's dealing with. But he when the city of the Hawkmen are being attacked, he's just standing there with his arms crossed. He's like, "Oh, no problem. The body reaches maximum velocity within a few hundred feet." Or when he's
that's just peak. That's peak Zarkov. That's you'll die anyway, Watson.
Well, yeah, but like he's about to
give
die.
Your life. Give your life to save the world.
Or he's just like he's such a cool, collected person after this, and he isn't that way. When he's trying to get Munson onto the ship. He's very panicky. He's very forceful. He's get your toothbrush and whatever. And
get your toothbrush and whatever.
he's very forceful. So I don't know. Maybe something happens there.
Sorry, this blanket's resting. I don't know. It's kind of irritating the top of my head. I got to change positions.
I'm sorry. Yeah, do what you got to do, man.
No, you don't. I don't apologize. I'm a podcast pro. This is just me, everyday podcaster.
I wanted to pose a hypothetical because this entire film is basically
is fictional.
Oh yes, but is Flash on his way back to Mingo City to stop Ming? But when they're first introduced, Flash is kicking ass. In the football fight scene, right? If Zarkov hadn't been the one to knock Flash out, do you think any of his men would have? Because in this scene, it feels like he's borderline invincible, whereas in every other scene where he meets people, he's easily subdued. So if he would have been able to continue without Zarkov hitting him in the head up to that point, would he have been able to stop Ming right there and then?
No, because Ming still got the laser ring.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know what we're calling it yet.
That's true.
Because remember Prince Thune. Prince Thune says, "Let people of Ardentia, or no, not Ardentia, yeah, Ardentia, let this be an example. Death to Ming!" And then he freezes him in place.
Right.
So imagine, after his Flash killed all his soldiers, then Ming would just freeze him and kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true.
Although it would be kind of a funny alternate scene is like he kills everyone in the castle and then
Ming just watches it happen.
Watches it until the very end. Guess he's satisfied with less.
Yeah. Also, I think I only counted 2 scenes where this happened, but like there is consistently, and I've been wanting to ask you about it for a while, but it just keeps slipping away because it happens so infrequently. But I feel like they wanted to make it a thing. Clytus is sniffing a piece of fabric every now and then. Have you noticed this? Like he'll raise.
No, what scenes?
In the scene right before Flash gets executed, he lifts this black sheer veil type thing to his nose and he sniffs it. And the other scene that I know that he does it off the top of my head, is it when he's no, it's not when he's torturing Aura. It's right when Ming walks into the room and they found out that Flash is alive, and Ming says, "Stop at nothing," and he gives him
Gordon's alive.
Yeah, he gives Clytus permission to use any means necessary. Then Ming leaves, and we get a tiny little insert of Clytus sniffing this fabric again. I think it's supposed to be a garment of Aura's.
That's what I was just going to speculate.
But like,
because he seems to be obsessed with Aura.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be the case. But it's only those 2 insert shots where I've seen it, and I think next watch I'm going to try to they happen pretty quickly to see if I miss any others, because even though there's not like massive plot points that I'm missing anymore, I do see something new every time, which is kind of interesting about this flick.
It does. Yeah, my mind is racing every time now. Like, what do I have to talk about this time?
Yeah.
How can I make the podcast marginally entertaining?
Exactly.
I have
exactly
what I feel like is a fairly major insight.
Oh, what's that?
This is the equivalent to remember the last big insight I had where I talked about how Flash had the whole learning to fly a plane arc.
Yeah.
This is probably like on that level.
Okay.
I realized the 3 main characters don't actually have real character arcs. I mean, Zarkov becomes an Imperial spy, but he doesn't change. Dale doesn't really change, except, no, because she's pretty much the same. Flash is kind of the same the whole time. The only characters that actually have what we would call a character arc are Prince Voltan, Prince Baron, and Princess Aura. They all have what I'm calling the Mongo to human pipeline. They're on the Mongo to human pipeline where they all 3 of them learn to team up and work together.
And Flash and his crew are right the whole time. That's very true. Huh.
They never really have to learn. I mean, they learn some skills, but they never have to. They're kind of infallible.
Yeah, that's very true.
And then everyone's kind of excited to fall in line. And as our friend Brian Blessed says, "Thank you for giving a dumb old bird a second chance."
Yeah, man, I had never even thought about that, but that's 100% true.
And what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's similar to, I guess, Luke Skywalker. I'm trying to think back to the first film now. He has to. Well, that's not even true, because he does have to learn. He has to be patient. He can't be No, never mind. That's a bad analogy. This is just. I don't know that I've seen this happen very often, where it's just like the main protagonists start at one emotional space and stay there the entire film, because Flash doesn't have a lowest point in the movie. I mean,
well, his low point would be, I think, when he is going to be executed right at the beginning. Because him and Dale have that teary scene, and he says, hey, this is a dream. I'm going to tell you this is just a dream, and we're all going to wake up, and it's going to be fine. I think that's sort of the low point.
Yeah, but that's like 45 minutes in.
And then it's all up from, or I think like 20 minutes in.
Because like, usually the lowest point is in your last 3/4 of the film, and then the upswing is like 15-20 minutes after that. But the rest of it for Flash is just an upswing the entire film.
Speaking of Flash, okay, this is one thing I've been picking up on the last 2 watches that I think is a bit odd. I want you to tell me what you think. Do you think it's weird that Flash Gordon is quote-unquote executed the first time? They put his body away on ice or whatever. They put him in the grave. Earthling killed by Ming.
Yeah.
And then immediately he is resuscitated. I think, like, I mean, I know it's planned. Like, as the audience, you know that Flash isn't really going to die, or that. Actually, you don't know it until after.
It's kind of alluded to when Ming asks Aura, did she enjoy her time off to this other planet with the Doctor?
With the Doctor. But wouldn't, I always kind of think, if we were to re-edit this movie, why we should shift the Flash Gordon comes back to life a little bit later. So it's kind of, what am I trying to say? I don't know. You gotta linger on it a little bit. You gotta doubt.
It's not within the first hour of the film, and people are like, "Well, there's still an hour of this movie left, and it's not going to be half a movie of Flash Gordon."
Yeah.
You know, I think that's an excellent point, because like he does get imprisoned, and you can just use that, and then have Aura come in and free him, and then when he comes back in with Rocket Ajax, have that, if you were to choose not to execute Ming via nose of a ship, just have him, I don't know, it would make the film more of a space epic rather than campy, I think, if you wanted to go that route. Because you would see Flash fail again, and then he would have to deal with that. Although, knowing Flash, it probably wouldn't set him back very much, because he never loses hope. He gets imprisoned by the tree men, and he literally tells one of the people, "Yeah, that's the spirit. Never lose hope."
That's the spirit. We'll hang you in the morning, you traitor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's... Send me on my way, Greenfather. When I was thinking about... because we're making all these Star Wars connections. We're always making all these Star Wars connections.
Mm-hmm.
When Ming calls out to the great god Daizan, is that the Force? Is this literally Star Wars?
That's entirely possible, that like his deity is like not necessarily being, but more of like just the aura that he uses. But they don't really delve into it enough for me to like draw any like solid conclusions, because he just has this power. He's like a space sorcerer, and nobody else seems to have this power. Is it the ring that he uses? Is it a blessing from his god? I don't know.
Going back into the Disney stuff, or not the Disney stuff, the Star Wars stuff, we need the series, the Ming character limited series on Disney Plus, where we follow what's the Ming origin.
Is it a metachlorian count?
Is it a metachlorian count? Ming says, I've got too many Mongos. My system's full of Mongos. I got
this guy,
and then they test them, and Ming and Flash both had the same Mongo count, and that's why Flash is so strong against Ming.
Tell me if I'm being an idiot here, but like, have you noticed like how often that Ming references to himself? He mainly uses we. He's like, we have decided to marry her, but then there's other times where he'll be like, your appetites are too dangerous, I refuse, and stuff like that. So sometimes he refers to himself as I. Is there like a difference between when he does it, or like?
the Dale marriage is really interesting too because it says we have decided to marry her and we have decided to procreate with her and send our offspring to Earth.
Is he like
so
part of his god?
I was to say, is this a spiritual connection or is this like a royal house thing? Like,
oh yeah,
it's a very
like a royal we.
The royal we.
Mm.
That I found was a really interesting way of writing that, unless he's talking about like, you know, the empire of Mongo as we. Yeah. I gotta be honest. I just want to talk about Andor some more. You should really watch that show.
It is on my watch list.
Andor.
Right now, I'm watching Vox Machina because season 2 is dropping. And that kind of, I guess, dates when we're recording this, but you know, that's fine. It
is January 28th.
No, all the January episodes have dropped.
11:30 a.m.
It's
where are you right now?
Where
were you when episode 4 of Irrational Transaction came out?
I wish I could tell you. And that have you watched any of it?
I've seen some of it. Is that Critical Role?
It is Critical Role's like first campaign. But it's way more approachable. Because it's like, I don't remember how many episodes the first season was, like 15 episodes, and their first campaign is upwards of 1,000 audio wise. And so like, this is a nice way to just see what they've been up to, because that's one audio D&D thing I've never really been able to get into just because of how intimidating the backlog is. So this is my my window into it, and it's written really well. And I feel like the characters, like the actors who play their characters, are really enjoying it and having fun still. So it's all going well for it.
I liked it. I watched some of it. I thought it was good, but it, I guess I just didn't continue. I'm not sure why. I thought it was fine.
That's fair.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. That's what I said. Once I'm done with that, maybe I'll move on to Andor.
Please, I'm being serious, Alexander. I know you're thinking like, this is just another show. I'm telling you, after you watch this, you will be like, this is a paradigm. I know I sound like I'm being either insane or dramatic, but this is a paradigm shift for like what Star Wars is. And this is what I've always said, and you've heard me say this before, so you know I'm not just retconning myself.
Yeah.
I've always said that the worst thing about Star Wars, especially new Star Wars, is this fucking relentless need to cram in the same people over and over and over to make the story. Like, oh, you guys like this random bounty hunter. Okay, well, here's the Mandalorian, and here's the Boba Fett, and here's the whatever. Oh, you guys love Darth Vader, so we're going to make an Obi-Wan show, and he's going to show up in Rogue One, and we're going to make a prequel about him. It's like all this, like, Star Wars claims to have this giant universe, like, right? Like millions of worlds or whatever, like the size of Star Trek or Warhammer or whatever.
Yeah.
And yet we have to tell the same fucking story with the same 2 Jedi and 2 Sith over. And I mean, I know there's all these other kind of properties like Clone Wars or whatever that goes into this stuff, but why we have to keep doing it over and over and over again?
Frustrating, because I love Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, and it could have been something so special, but it wasn't. And that's really sad. But I get, you were right. There's so many other stories. Give me a Gonk Droid TV show.
Give me a Gonk Droid TV show. But, like, it's like, okay, well, we have to have the smuggler, we have to have the bounty hunter, we have to have the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's like, where's this expansive world? And I think what Andor does so well is all these other shows, like, the rebellion's kind of already going, and then the lightsaber guy shows up kind of mid-rebellion and kind of helps out in the last few missions, and then, like in A New Hope, the rebellion's already started.
Yeah.
In basically every Star Wars movie, like the fight's already going on, and they just show up to be a part of it, and they play their part. But in Andor, it's like the fight hasn't started yet, and who are the people who start it? Who are the people who? It's like, who are the people who are like, because in Andor it takes place, there's no like formal rebel front.
Okay.
and there's no like it's just kind of like random anti-empire terrorism and some small. It's like some kind of some people here and there who fight for freedom, but it's not like giant space battles and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like who. It's like a look into like the people who actually build the rebellion.
Yeah.
Very good.
That is really neat.
Sorry.
That's a neat perspective. I'd like to. I do want to see it. But the thing, like my own, I guess the only thing that's held me off is because I'm one of those people that like wizards. So Jedi are always kind of like my go-to. But I'll definitely give it a shot.
There's a lot of cloak and dagger stuff, and there's a lot of there's still space blasters. There's still spaceships. There's really good CGI.
Actually, interesting. Okay.
Really, really good. I'm very impressed by like what we've done. And speaking of CGI, tell me about your you saw a little special effects hiccup.
Okay, so it was late at night when I was doing my watch. It was last night, and when Rocket Ajax is flying towards Ming City, had you seen this yet? Like,
I've never noticed it.
Yeah, it's just like it's a 3 seconds, which is why I was so surprised I'd never seen it. But like, the way they shoot this is like the model of the ship is in front of a green screen, and then they edit out the green screen to look like this ship is flying. But there's this 3-second clip where they just forgot to edit out the green screen of Rocket Ajax as it's flying towards Ming City with this thunder shield up. And I was like, I thought I had to be seeing things because there's no way I missed this after X amount of watches. And it's, oh my goodness, it was, I was doubting myself so much. I rewinded it and watched it 3 times. And then I sent you that little clip as well. It was like, this is crazy. Am I going insane? No, it's definitely there.
That was very funny. That clip actually inspired me. I went on YouTube and I looked up there was an interview by one of the, what do you call these guys? Prop masters or, the people, or I guess model makers. There was an interview with one of the model makers on Flash Gordon, and he said they had a scene because outside, like most of these ships and settings, they're like all models.
Yeah.
And outside of Mingo City, there was supposed to be like this spaceship graveyard of all the ships that tried to attack the city and were shot down.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the designers and the model makers built like hundreds of like wreckages and unique ships and whatever, and they like smashed them against a rock and put them in the sand, and like they made this like really beautiful, elegant scene, and they showed some photographs, and then it was all cut from the movie.
Really?
So
that's really too bad.
Yeah, too bad. Apparently, it was kind of production hell.
Yeah, I was looking into some stuff online, and I found that like no one could really decide. The reason like it goes from campy to dramatic is because there were so many script rewrites even during the process of filming, and like no one at the cast really knew while they were filming it if this was going to be seen as a drama or as campy cheesy space romp. And so you see those contrasts between like Dale's "it won't turn over" scene and some of the other stuff that you're looking at, like,
and Dale's "go Flash go."
Exactly. And so it's there at no point were like they 100% certain what the movie was going to look like.
I find that so fascinating.
I had a very similar experience recently.
This goes back. Wait, what does that mean?
I've been on set for this production for the past I've been filming this thing since October, right? And I when I was told about it, when I auditioned for it, I was told it was going to be a comedy, strictly in the strictest sense. And that's the only reason I signed on.
What is the strictest sense of a comedy?
Well, it was just like, yeah, it's just supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a funny movie, and I read the script and it was funny. And I'm like, perfect. Yes, I haven't done comedy much. Let's do this. And so I signed on to do it, and I saw the trailer that they made, and it looks really dramatic, Caleb. And
are you in the trailer?
Very, very briefly. But I don't know that they've posted it online. It was more of like a celebration of what has all been done so far. and what it's going to.
So it could just be like a bad edit, or
it could just be a bad edit, and it could have just been like the people who have access to the footage were like super excited, and then they like edited this thing. But like, it made me really sad because it looked like it was going to take itself very seriously and wasn't going to be the campy, cheesy romp that I thought it was going to be. And if that's the case, I might be looking at a Room situation with Tommy Wiseau. We'll find out.
Do you think however this movie breaks, this is either going to jumpstart your comedy career or your drama career?
Nope.
Well, you know what they say. You know, it all comes together in the edit. Like this podcast, it comes out funny, but that's because we spend hours and hours in the editing room every week.
It's all just bits and pieces.
The jokes together.
Yeah.
We cut the jokes together. I edit in all the awooga sounds. And like the little clown noises and bonk bonk and little bells. Ding 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 ding. And please laugh here.
Yeah. Very very radio DJ jock. I like it a lot. I need to get myself a soundboard.
Awooga. And then I do like the Roblox oof oof.
Can you imagine the power if we just had soundboards we could insert as we go?
It would just be check the angular vector, check the angular vector, check the angular vector.
Check the angular vector.
Check the angular vector. I want to do that. Awooga, check the angular vector.
I guess we're approaching like almost like 50 minutes of this. I was gonna ask you, what was your favorite line this time around, Caleb?
There was a line that I heard for the first time, and now I'm forgetting it. Every time there's a line that just comes into my head. That is such a good question. I'm always unprepared. Because I always think about it and then I think about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
I had it. Okay, you go first. Come back to me.
Sounds good. I surprised myself this time around. My favorite line, when Flash first tunes into Dale through psychic thought amplifier, and she realizes that he's talking to her. My favorite line this time around was when Dale says, "Can this be real?" I don't know why. It just really hit this time.
My favorite line was when Dale asked the slave where the potion came from, and she says, or what the potion is called, and she says, "It has no name, but many men died to bring it here from the galaxy of pleasure."
It makes you want to know more about that, right?
Which I kind of want to go to the galaxy of pleasure, and I want to know who's killing all these men in the galaxy of pleasure, and is it aggressive orgasms?
And why are we calling it the galaxy of pleasure if the mortality rate is so dang high here?
Is it like, do you ever play Warhammer?
No, I never got around to it.
Do you ever get deep into the Warhammer lore?
Nope.
There's like, I don't know, like demons and chaos force and all this stuff, but there's sort of there's like a pleasure deity demon.
Okay.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they have to go visit some, what would you call it? Like some lust deity.
And it's just a bunch of trials that no one passes.
Maybe it's like Dizan's hot stepmom.
My favorite actor this time around.
Okay.
Believe it or not, is actually Dale. I'm gonna pick Dale this time because of how damn cold she gets by the end of the movie. Because she starts off as this super naive, please talk me through this flight, I'm very, very nervous, to at the end of it just straight up telling Aura, I don't trust you. You have Ming's blood in your veins. And she straight up tricks another lady into drinking this potion so she can escape. She doesn't care. She doesn't give a shit that this person's gonna die as soon as she leaves. And I just like, I liked it a lot. It was funny.
I like that. My favorite would be Princess Aura, because she just gets it done. You know, girls get it done this time.
Yeah, I guess
she doesn't
so.
fake him out. Her husband calls her a lying bitch, but she doesn't care.
They're not married.
She saves Flash. She takes Flash away to presumably lock away in a pleasure kingdom.
Yeah.
To just play with forever.
Yeah.
Then she helps Baron and Zarkov escape. Like, she's just she's all around. And I think I'm also liking the interrogation scene a lot more. I think at first I found it really kind of like cheesy and goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it more.
Yeah.
My father will execute your whole perverted secret police force.
And then her dad's just watching the entire time. In that very specific pose.
A very Ming pose.
I never noticed that General Kala, when she gets told to go grab the boar worms, she actually goes to a spot in the room, picks up a pot, and walks back to her while the whole Ming thing is happening.
The boar worms are in the room.
Yeah, they're in the room, just sitting on a pedestal.
I always assumed they would have to send some men to the Galaxy of Pain to bring back some boar worms.
She's holding this thing in 2 hands. So they can't be too terribly big.
I wonder if all our listeners are listening to us from the Galaxy of Podcast right now.
The Galaxy of Podcasts.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone off tangent. Let's go back to the boar worms.
No, it's all good. I was just going to jump to my least favorite actor, if you have one.
Least favorite. That's easy. It's always easy. It's...
You say it's always easy, but you didn't give one last time.
Did I faked you out, because girls know how.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. I love them all so much. I don't like the guy who is in charge of War Rocket Ajax.
Yo, that was my choice today. I was going to say my least favorite actor is Captain of Ship Ajax, because he's responsible for the worst part of the movie, and I blame him.
Yeah, and he's kind of... Prepare Skynets to catch Gordon's body.
He just steps up, waits 5 seconds, and says, "Fire!"
Fire! I'm sure he did a great job, though. I'm sure his kids are very proud of him.
Very proud of him. Very proud of him.
It's funny. And then, if you had to give this movie a score out of 100, what would it be?
See, I haven't dipped below 50 yet. I'm still not going to. Don't worry.
50? What the hell? We're so far. We've been saying like 96. How can you even mention 50?
It's just okay.
The last one was like both like 97.
We both said 99 last time. Here's the thing. Okay, listen. It's just I get very excited once the movie starts playing, and then it keeps playing, Caleb. It keeps going, and it doesn't stop for an hour and 50 minutes. And I don't watch it at 1.5 speed. I watch it at normal.
I don't watch it at 1.5. You son of a bitch. I said 1.2 one time. That's the way to do it.
Okay. So, if I'm being honest, by the end of the film, I'm feeling drained sometimes. So because of that, I'm going to place it at a 67. Okay?
Whoa, a 30-point drop-off?
32 to be precise.
That's so good, man.
This week was harder, and I'm sorry about that, but it's my truth, and I'm sticking to it.
You're turning on me, you son of a bitch. We were supposed to be this through thick and thin, and now you're going to bail on me.
I'm not going to bail on you. I still get excited when the movie starts. It just doesn't stop soon enough.
Well, you know what? I'm going to call upon the great God Daizan. I'm going to give this movie 100 because I got to offset you.
You bastard. That's not vating it.
Political.
That's not
It's political now.
That's not even what you feel. That's just to you're trying to upset the order.
Yeah, and I will. I'm just going to say it right now. You're Monk Scale 3 and I'm Monk Scale 4.
You don't know if 4 is smaller.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm being a Monk Scale 2. I don't know which one's the good one. Write in the chat if anyone and if any of our listeners know, get at us on our socials.
We have a TikTok account now. And
should we do little dances to the Flash Gordon quotes?
Little dances to put on the TikTok.
I could do the, what's it called? The floss. I could floss while I say, Chuck the angle of the movie.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're approaching the end. I just wanna say thank you to Dwy for the use of our theme song, Party for One. It's the one consistency we have, aside from the fact that we're watching the same movie over and over again. But it's always great to listen to. Be sure to check it out on all music streaming services, and also buy it. Support them. And leave us reviews on whatever podcatcher app you use. Podcast Addict lets you do reviews. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can leave reviews there. That helps us immensely. Yes, you can. You can. I don't know if you can write review itself, but you can 5-star it.
Here's what we'll do. We'll steal this from other podcasts. Write some reviews and we'll read them on the show.
Hey, yeah, that's great. Even if they're mean.
And if they're 1-star, I'll kill you.
Legally, we can't say that we'll do that.
Cut that out.
But Caleb, are you ready for our closer that we do at the end of every episode?
I am, as soon as you remind me what it is.
Nope, we just go. No countdown. Here we go. Long live Flash.
Hail Zarkov.
Hail Zarkov.
Hey